Like, you know the lane or the pick is bad when the enemy team can walk up, click shards, click their spells, and then just kill you from full. It's so bad! It can snowball the cold feet end too. Oh my. Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today, honestly, I just have to look at a Liquid game. I feel like I have no choice at this point, because these guys are just too good, right? I mean, they are really just too good. So we're going to be doing a quick draft analysis, then a game analysis of Team Liquid against Enigma Galaxy. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know how Team Liquid continues to just style on these teams. Like, you would imagine at some point someone figures them out. But I really feel like the reason why teams can't figure them out, the reason why Team Liquid is looking so dominant right now, is their versatility, right? It's unbelievable what they're picking, right? Out of nowhere, you just have ZAI on Tusk, right? I feel like, I mean, it's not to say that they're not an IO team, but personally I haven't seen them playing that much IO. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I have the stats wrong, but I haven't seen it that much. And they just run some offlane Tusk out of seemingly nowhere. I saw them playing Necrophos earlier, right? ZAI played a game of Pugna. Nisha plays like random heroes all the time as well. So it's just crazy for me to see the flexibility of this team. They're unbelievably unpredictable, and so let's get into it and see how this draft looks. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the Game Leap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the Game Leap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. So this is actually not last pick draft for Team Liquid, which is somewhat surprising to me because with the Tusk being a flex core of this game, it tends to be more effective, at least from my experience, to have a flex core if you're on second pick, because then you can counter pick by flexing your core. So let's see what Liquid goes for here. So Enigma Galaxy going for a pretty crazy draft here, trying to shut down the side of Team Liquid. It's actually insane. They go for Beastmaster AA. Two heroes I think are pretty good against the IO. Beast I like against IO generally, at least from my experience, because you do such overwhelming amounts of damage and consistent damage where you can out damage the heals with like right click Beastmaster comps. On that note, that's why I kind of don't really understand the AA. I feel like you can just kind of go Beastmaster plus like Undying, and you can play just to have like some group up comp, because I feel like IO in terms of his ability to stop pushing comps is not that good. So they could have went Beast Ench, they could have went Beast Undying, they could have went kind of one of these routes. They don't. So they go for the IO Storm, which I love, because when you see AA like this, and this is why Liquid's so good, a lot of teams might just say like, we're picking Leshrac anyway, we're picking our Witch Doctor anyway, whatever the heal pairing is with IO. Some teams would do that. Liquid, on the other hand, they pick Storm Spirit. They say, okay, this is a hero that works well with IO, it gives up a ton of mana, it's a lot of global presence, and it's a hero that doesn't rely on the healing to be good with IO, it relies on the mana and the map movements. So it's a hero that ganks Beastmaster early on, and it's a hero that takes out AA in the fights, which truly enables the IO to heal someone else. And so I think this is a fantastic 8 pick from the side of Team Liquid. Team Liquid then bans out the Animage, the Dragonite, which I like. You know, Dragonite just a solid hero against the Storm, Animage is very self-explanatory why it's good against Storm. You just burn his mana and then Ultium, and then Ember Spear to make sure that Storm can't get locked down. Enigma Galaxy goes for the Tiny, which I like because it's good setup for Ancient Apparition, and Beastmaster doesn't want to be the initiator, so it's a solid Tiny pick overall. However, you're kind of saying that we're going to have slow timings. Beastmaster has to farm, AA needs level 6 in a pairing, and Tiny doesn't pair that well with AA until he has Blink Dagger. Obviously, you can make plays before the Blink Dagger, but it's pretty hard, right? It really is quite difficult. And they go for the Enchantress, and I like the Enchantress, even though it's not follow-up damage to the Storm Spirit. For instance, a lot of people will pick Mirana or Snapfire with Storm, so that when Storm goes on someone at long range, you have follow-up damage to kill them. Ench is not terrible follow-up damage, but it's certainly not great. However, I think the tempo of Ench against this sort of like greedy first 3 heroes is very good, and I think that's part of the reason they picked Tusk. They're basically saying, we think you can't fight us early on, and frankly, I kind of do agree. I think this is sort of the problem with the Enigma draft. I mean, yes, you can get away with this, but neither of these 2 heroes lane well with Beastmaster, so you better hope you have some really efficient strategy, right? Like, really good laning mechanics or ideas to make sure you can get out of lane against Ench or against like an IO plus, I don't know, Slark, something that does well against the Beast. And yeah, actually, no, Slark's a horrible example, but they go for the Mirana, and so Enigma Galaxy kind of trying to round out their lack of early game, you know, a hero with 2 nukes, the ulti is very good early on, so I don't mind the Mirana pick. And lastly, Team Liquid goes for Monkey King. So I think they basically quadrupled down on the idea of playing fast. And part of the reason I think Team Liquid is arguably the best team in the world, something I've noticed about their drafts, is their drafts have a ton of synergy, especially within what time of the game they can play, like how fast they can play. They tend to be one of the fastest teams in Dota right now. They definitely like to play a faster style of Dota, and this draft is a hard example of that, right? We see Monkey King carry with IO. Like, that lane is so obnoxious because the attack speed with Monkey King, you can't trade into it. And honestly, I don't even think that's probably the lane. It's most likely Ench Monkey King. So you have options. IO Tusk is insanely good. IO Monkey King is insanely good. Ench Tusk is insanely good. Like, you have so much flexibility in how you can run your lanes, and their lanes are dominant no matter what. And the side of Enigma Galaxy, it's the furthest thing from that. I'll just keep it real. I mean, it's just not. And they go for Drow, which is so unbelievably risky. I'm just gonna say it right now. I think Tusk is one of the best heroes in lane against Drow. You can maybe skill Gust and push away the tag team, but oh my god, I have seen, so one team I've studied a little bit is Beast Coast, and one of their favorite ways to play against Drow is Tusk Lesh, or Tusk plus a ranged hero. It's usually Tusk support, but it doesn't change much. You just go on the Drow with tag team and killer, and who's the support protecting Drow here? Who's saving the Drow? Not AA. What are you gonna do? Cold feet? Like, that's gonna do a little, but they're gonna do most of their damage. Like, Mirana, I don't know, man. Like, Enigma Galaxy scales absurdly well, okay? If this game goes long enough, they can win. And I know hindsight's 2020. I know that they get run over, so it's easy for me to say. And I will say, I think if this is tier 2 Dota, this draft is easier to play overall. I think Team Liquid's draft, hard to execute. But they can take Roche. Their tower taking is good with the Ench, so they can force that. But I just think at the highest level of Dota, you are taking so much risk by having some of the weakest lanes I've seen. These lanes are so absurdly... Okay, Mirana Beast is alright, but it's not that good against Enchantress Monkey King. You're going to struggle. There's no way around it. You're going to struggle. And so yeah, we'll see how the lanes play out. Obviously, I've given my piece. I haven't even watched the game yet, but that's my perspective. Alright, so getting into the ZAI Tusk, pretty weird starting on it. It was 3 branches, saving up a ton of gold. Like, I don't know if he thinks he's just going to get zoned out of this lane, or maybe he just feels like he needs to sustain. It's a little bit very weird, actually, because you're laning with an IO, right? And it's a headdress IO, so you're going to get a ton of HP regen. Yeah, I don't know. It's surprising to me that he would consider rushing an item like this. I feel like if I'm in this lane as Tusk, maybe I'm going like Gloves of Haste Rush or just Boots Rush, trying to double down on whatever item will enable me to punish a Drow on my level 2, level 3 timing. So yeah, either way, let's get into the ZAI Tusk and talk about why it ends up being so good this game. So if you don't understand why IO Tusk is a good lane, this is a lane that has actually existed for quite a bit of time now, and it's largely actually played with IO as the core. Not anymore, obviously. I don't think a lot of people play IO as core, even though it's actually not that bad, but the spirits have been nerfed quite a bit. However, the concept behind it is that IO Overcharge gives 35 attack speed, and you want to pair it with heroes that benefit from the attack speed. Heroes like Slark, Ursa, Tusk are very, very good. Why does Tusk benefit? Tag team, right? So both IO and Tusk get the attack speed, and then every time you attack during the tag team, you get a bonus 20 damage. That's obviously very good with attack speed. You just want to hit as much as possible during tag team. And so right away, they hit level 2 first, because I actually don't know exactly why they hit level 2 first, but they hit level 2 first. The IO hits level 2, and immediately they go on to Kuro, and from full HP, he just dies. There is a Cold Feet, but Cold Feet takes way too long to proc, and this is what I said during the draft. It's too slow of an ability. If you have a stun in this lane, maybe you're okay, right? If there's a stun, you're fine, because then at least during the tag team you can stun the Tusk and slow down the damage, but this lane does not have that, and that's why I'm very nervous about how it's going to play out as they go into the Drow again. And it looks kind of stupid almost, as actually they get turned on here a little bit. It looks kind of stupid, like ZAI. I will say, I even think this kill attempt from ZAI, like, as I watched him walk up, I'm like, this can't be good. And the reason why it can't be good, at least in my perspective, is Boxy is too low. You have a half HP IO, you're basically under the tower, right? Going on someone here is way different than going on someone here, right? Because one of those heroes will get back to the tower, get into tower armor range, and naturally you'll have to disengage earlier, meaning you're going to get hit when you're running away. And so this go looks pretty bad, right? Like, Miracle, honestly, if he was going to go on him here, he needs to go on him right away. Like, these shards take ZAI way too long. He should have sharded right away. from my experience at least, and it would have made a little bit of a difference. But yeah, Boxy was low, and it still ends up being a somewhat decent trade because Boxy lives. And yeah, I don't know. As I said, I just can't fathom why they would pick Drow here. Like, I guess I kind of understand it, but at the same time, like, it's not even that good mid to late game. You have a Tusk, you have a Storm, you have a Monkey King, you have heroes that can close the gap on Drow. It's just so weird. It's so weird. Like, literally, they're both full HP, and they just walk up and go on them. Like, you know the lane or the pick is bad when the enemy team can walk up, click shards, click their spells, and then just kill you from full. Like, then it's just heinous. You know what I mean? Like, oh god. All right, now ZAI is going to pick up mana boots, and honestly, I don't even think he had to go this route. I think he kind of is overestimating. I don't mind the Ring of Health. I will say it has actually looked pretty good because Drow has had no ability to bully out this Tusk. Like, typically you can bully him a little even with IO, but like, in this case, not at all, as they go on Miracle again. He can, oh my.
It's so dumb.
It's so bad! He can snowball the Cold Feet N2. Oh my. You might be wondering, okay, Speed, what do you pick against this lane? They could have picked, I don't know if they banned Faceless Void. You could pick Faceless Void. It would do completely fine in this lane. Like, completely fine. You could pick Morphling was probably banned, but you could pick Morphling. Right, Morphling doesn't die to this combo. Even a high armor hero like Naga Siren and Terrorblade, they struggle. They wouldn't do well, and I wouldn't suggest those picks, but they would do okay. So yeah, I don't know. It's just pretty crazy. And yeah, from there, the Drow ends up just completely leaving the lane. ZAI is going to completely free farm at this point. Top of the net worth. Okay, close to top of the net worth. And as I said, they stomped 3 lanes. I'm not surprised. Okay, I don't think Storm is supposed to stomp Tiny, but he probably got camped by an Ench or something like that. So, I don't 4K down in minute 7. I've seen laning stages go better than this for sure. All right, upcoming here, we're going to see a sick rotation from ZAI. I will admit, I think the Vanguard is a little bit weird. Obviously, it's good against Drow auto attacks. It's pretty good against the Leap of the Mirana. It's also not even bad against Tiny Core, and it's certainly good against Beastmaster. So the Vanguard against somewhat heavy physical is nice, but I don't know, I just expected him to go items like maybe Phase Boots, drums, and really try to amp up the tempo. I love the drums with something like the IO, the Tag Team, the Storm, the Edge. You have so much physical damage here, so I could have seen something like that. But he decides to kind of go like more like a Primal Beast or a Doom route, which is, I don't know, it's weird to me, but either way, we're going to see a great rotation from ZAI here. I love how he's just kind of willing to TP even though the creep wave isn't dead. A lot of players would have been really greedy here and said, you know, I'm going to clear the wave and then I'll look for a play, then I'll try to save. But he's really quick about just being like, okay, this is my Monkey King. He's having a great lane, so he'll probably survive the gank. And as a result, he's able to get off a very nice snowball. Unfortunately, the arrow barely misses, partially because of the snowball, and they take out the Beastmaster. And, you know, ganks like this, when you fail a gank like that, you give up all of your positioning, you cast all of your spells, they use the roar, and it just means your map is going to collapse. And now, ZAI's just going to walk mid as he bumps into the Mirana and nearly solo kills her. Okay, basically solo kills her, and that's going to result in a mid tower. And what's really cool about ZAI's gameplay at this point is he's kind of relegated himself to position 4. I'm not kidding, the IO is probably going to play with the Storm Spirit and just click Soaring on the guy. However, the Enchantress is actually going to sit bottom and farm. You heard that right, Ench is going to sit bottom and farm as... Oh, is he going to buy mana boots? That's pretty cool, because you can mana boots the IO and give Storm like 400 mana. That's pretty legit. Oh, maybe they're stacking mana boots for that reason. Does IO queue up mana boot? IO generally doesn't buy mana boots. Okay, Storm didn't buy mana boots though, which is kind of weird because you can with the IO and it's very good because you have you don't need the Tread's attack speed with IO as much. So I don't know, a little bit weird for Nisha that he would go this route anyway, but either way, pretty damn cool. As I was saying though, the Ench is going to farm bottom and he's kind of pushed himself to position 4. He's actually going to roam, and it's nice because something like Ench doesn't play that well with the Storm. And I mentioned this in the draft analysis. I was like, yeah, they didn't really pick, you know what I mean? They didn't pick a hero that plays well with the Storm in the Ench, so maybe that's a bit of a problem mid-game. Maybe you don't do enough damage, but then you pick this Tusk, and it's like, okay, well, your Ench can farm and Ench can scale, and trust me, Ench scales. Like, this hero scales, man. It is devastating when Ench gets enough items, because you can't kill her, she just sits there chucking impetus at you. But yeah, the Tusk is incredibly good actually with the Storm Spirit. What Team Liquid does really well is they understand how to close out games. I've watched this time and time again from them, and they're arguably, in my opinion, the best team in the world at closing down the map and not making stupid mistakes. What a lot of teams would do here is chase the enemy team around the map and say, oh, we're so far ahead, let's just run into them and try to kill them, forgetting the fact that the enemy team still has Dota heroes. They can still tiny stun you into an AA blast, into an arrow, and someone's going to die, right? You can't heal them with the IO, and so, as I said, someone is going to die. However, what they are good about is basically saying, okay, we're going to take your tier 2 tower, a lot of gold, a lot of map control, very hard to play bottom side with no tier 2, no outpost, And now bottom is like, it's deserted territory. Somehow Storm solo kills Drow, don't ask me how, I don't know how that's possible. It's definitely not good, but Storm solo kills Drow, whatever. Now what they're going to do, what ZAI and the boys are going to do, is they're going to wrap across the map. With bottom being such a dangerous area, no one on the side of Enigma Galaxy wants to go bottom. You can see ZAI pinging out the top rune, wants to contest it to make sure Storm either gets, DD, Haste, Arcane, Regen. Storm Spirit is one of the best rune users in the game. Hands down. From there, he's going to pick up his blink, and they're going to pop a smoke. They're going to send Mickey bottom, and part of the reason why they send Mickey bottom here on the Monkey King is if the enemy team sees a Monkey King bottom, they're going to feel more comfortable in the top side of the map, and that is going to allow your smoke gank to succeed. Now, in this case, Enigma Galaxy was actually quite ready for the smoke of Team Liquid, but it doesn't matter as what a snowball. Oh my god. Nice snowball. Is he going to be able to hit the shards as well? As they kill Sumail. And they're camping the hill. They just don't do enough damage. That was such a nice snowball though. Wow. Saving the position 5 is pretty chad because, usually you just let the position 5 die. I mean, who cares about position 5 players? Am I right, guys? And what's pretty cool about ZAI's build is he actually does go back for the drums, which I really like. I think this item, a lot of people see it as like, I'm not going to buy drums of endurance unless I rush drums of endurance. But the reality of the item is that it actually scales very well because the numbers are pretty damn insane. 13% movement speed increase is just always good. There's no way around that. 13%? I mean, a wild number. You know what I mean? You're typically going to give 45, 50 attack speed. That's more than boots. You know what I mean? Like, if the hero is high movement speed, it's certainly more than boots. And so that's pretty insane. And then 45 attack speed on a Storm and a Monkey King and an Ench. And, it's obviously very, very notable. So the fact that a lot of people think that this item is like early game only is wrong. It's just wrong. Like the numbers, I think drums is easily one of the most broken items in the game, is all I'm going to say. I really think this item is disturbingly broken right now. The cost is way too low for what it is. But yeah, the side of Enigma Galaxy is going to go on the Enchantress. The classic fatal mistake. Commit all of your spells on Enchantress. I've seen this one time and time again this tournament. I understand why teams do it because the Enchantress is sitting in the lane, but at the end of the day, you probably shouldn't go on the Enchantress. I think they would feed if they went on anyone, but Enchantress is definitely not great. But yeah, the Tusk is now going to enable them to Roche, which is a very big upside of this hero. It is easily one of the best Roshan heroes in the game due to tag team. As they see the Drow in the top lane, the Storm is going to long sip on her. Did they reload on her? Yeah, okay, they're reloading on her. Oh, they don't get her. They messed up. And something I will say that I think is really good about ZAI as a player is he's just really aware about what the enemy team is trying to do and what their objectives are. And Liquid as a team is good at that, and that's why they're so dominant. When you are basically inside of the head of the enemy team and you can read their movements and how they view the game at the current point in time, it's very easy to kind of predict what they're going to do. And on that note, I just thought this clip is pretty cool where he's going to focus a Beastmaster creep. A lot of players would just not address it. They don't see it as a big enough deal to chase it around the map. But something I realized is that that's just the furthest from the truth. As they're going to cut the top lane, right? So they're hard cutting the top lane here on the Beastmaster creep. And ZAI's actually going to TP over. Looks like maybe his team could go high ground, but no, he's like, we don't have an Aegis. We might be 22k ahead at minute 26, but that's not enough to go high ground. To be fair, the enemy team has Drow and Tiny and AA. It's a very hard team comp to go high ground, and it's kind of one of those team comps that just does a lot of damage even if they're 22k net worth behind. This Drow hero, this AA hero, this Tiny hero, they do a lot no matter what because of the anti-healing. So yeah, you want to push in the lane, and because he pushes in top all the way, he's obviously going to get really farmed. And what's really great about Liquid is they're willing to make plays on the other side of the map even without 5 heroes. They're very good about identifying like, okay, we don't need 5 heroes to make a play. Sometimes because we're ahead all the time, and they really are, we can make plays with 3, 4 heroes. As what a try from Mickey. Almost predicted her. Nice gust from Miracle to get him out there. That's a crazy reload. Alright, they're throwing a bit. I can see why this game didn't end. It's pretty hard for them to end. Alright, and that's going to be about the end of the video, as we're going to see ZAI initiate once again. He actually took the snowball damage at level 15 and tag team damage at 10, which is kind of crazy because some people will take the other talents if they're playing more of a support style, just to be a little bit more tanky. But the snowball damage allows you to one-shot creep waves, and tag team damage is obviously very good with the heavy physical damage comp that they have. So super, super nice. At level 20, I actually think he would probably take Ice Shard's cooldown. No joke. It's a really great talent. Honestly, really, really great talent. Allows you to clear waves more frequently, jungle quicker, just really, really good actually. But yeah, either way, breaks a smoke here, 3k HP, Cloak of Flames, so tanky. Goes in, kind of messes up. You want to blink in and snowball typically, or blink in kick, blink in punch. Doesn't end up really mattering though, as the Drow Ranger does literally 0 damage. They get a fight outside of the base. He gets completely comboed, but still does not die because of how tanky he is. Vanguard, Boots of Bearing, HP regen, Cloak of Flames, resistances, and yeah, finally, with 30,000 gold, which is a disgusting amount of gold, they're able to win the match. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned quite a bit about Dota 2. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.